continuing to stream Roblox Grow a Garden because I honestly love this game. And, to be real, all hamsters are absolutely crazy about it. Here, I'm growing my garden together with you, planting everything I can and just enjoying the process. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It's really important for me because that's how we can grow our army of viewers and hamsters even faster. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you would plant in your own garden, and let's make this stream as fun and lively as possible. I'm sitting here, chewing gum, and thinking, if hamsters ruled the world, would every building be shaped like a wheel, with tunnels instead of hallways, and elevators replaced by big tubes you could just roll through? And maybe nobody would ever rush anywhere, because why rush if you've always got sunflower seeds in your pocket? And then I think, it's so weird that humans invented alarm clocks just to wake up at some specific time instead of when the sun naturally blinds you in the morning. Although, honestly, even with the sun in my face, I'd probably just roll over and keep sleeping. Still, who decided we should all live by the ticking of a clock instead of by our own mood? I mean, right now I'm chewing gum, and I could just keep chewing forever. The only problem is gum eventually loses its flavor, which is kind of like school friendships. At first, it's all fun and exciting, and then someone changes classes or moves away, and it's just not the same. So maybe life is about finding new flavors, because if you chew the same mint gum forever, one day it's gonna feel like doing math homework. Technically useful, but kind of annoying. And it's strange how we humans have favorite tastes, but trees don't. Or maybe they do. Maybe there's a tree out there that likes rain more than sunshine, but it just can't tell us. Maybe they whisper about it through their roots while we're too busy to notice. And I'm thinking, if I had my own forest, I'd name every single tree so I could call them out one by one and tell them the news from town. They probably wouldn't understand a thing, but it would still feel nice. And then my brain jumps too. The internet is basically one giant anthill, except the ants are just carrying memes back and forth, and no one knows who started it, but everyone's constantly moving. And in that chaos, somehow we found each other, which means you should totally subscribe, because we're aiming for 1,000 subscribers, and I know we can get there. You're watching this right now and probably thinking, all right, hamster, fine. Here's a sub. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Welcome to the squad. Together, we'll build an army of gum-chewing philosophers who stay up at 2 a.m. arguing over whether bagged tea or loose-leaf tea is better. Personally, I'm team loose-leaf because bagged tea just feels boring. But with loose leaf, you get to pretend you're some wizard mixing a potion without the explosions, sadly. Although, how cool would it be if tea leaves exploded into confetti when you poured hot water on them? Probably not very safe, but my brain says worth it. And then I wonder why pencils still exist when everyone uses keyboards. Maybe they're just the analog version of a wand. Because when you scribble something, you're making thoughts visible. And if you think about it, maybe thoughts are like bubbles. They pop if you keep them inside too long, so you have to let them out, even if they sound dumb. Like, here's another one. What if socks are just foot prisons, and shoes are the guards? Nobody talks about that. But if my feet could talk, I'm sure they demand better working conditions. Or maybe they just say thanks for not stepping on Legos barefoot. Also, why do we say sleep like a baby when babies wake up every 2 hours? Shouldn't we say sleep like a cat? Cats can nap through an earthquake and then wake up just to stretch and knock something over for no reason. That's a life goal right there. And speaking of cats, I'm convinced they have secret meetings at night where they plan exactly how to knock your stuff off shelves in the most annoying way possible. Imagine them with little blueprints, plotting like cartoon villains. But I'm okay with it, because at least cats commit to their chaos. People could learn from that. If you're gonna cause a mess, At least do it with style. Anyway, my gum is starting to taste like sadness now, which means it's time to either spit it out or pretend it's still good for another hour because I'm too lazy to get up. But before I decide, I'll just remind you, hit that subscribe button. We're going for 1,000 subs, and every click is one step closer to building this weird little hamster empire we've got going. Think about it. You could say you were here before we even hit for digits. Before the hamster army took over the YouTube algorithm and flooded it with strange, pointless, but somehow comforting rants like this one. And trust me, once we hit that goal, I've got even more nonsense to unleash. This is just the warm-up. And you know what's funny? I keep thinking about clouds. Like, they just float up there all day, not paying rent, not worrying about deadlines, just drifting around looking fluffy and mysterious. Sometimes they look like animals, sometimes like mashed potatoes, and I wonder if they ever look down and think, wow, humans are weird. I mean, from up there, they'd see us rushing around in little metal boxes with wheels, yelling at glowing rectangles in our hands, and probably be like, yeah, let's just rain on them to cool them off. And rain is kind of like the world's reset button. It washes the dust away, makes the air smell nice, and convinces everyone it's the perfect time for tea and blankets. Unless you're outside without an umbrella, then it's just the universe's way of saying surprise shower. And then there's cereal. Why is cereal always a breakfast thing? Who decided that rule? I've had cereal at 2 a.m. And let me tell you, it tastes even better when the rest of the world is asleep. It's like a secret meal, just you, the crunch, and the sound of your brain going, yeah, this is living. Also, why does milk always run out faster than you think? You buy a whole carton, and somehow, 2 bowls later, it's already gone. I'm convinced milk evaporates in the fridge just to mess with us. And speaking of fridges, have you ever opened the fridge, stared at it for a full minute, and then closed it without taking anything? That's not hunger. That's just boredom wearing a food costume. Anyway, this all loops back to the point. Subscribe. Yeah, I'm saying it again, because this hamster brain is like a cloud too, just floating from one thought to the next. And if you're still here, it means you vibe with the chaos. And if you vibe with the chaos, you're basically already part of the hamster army. You just need to click the button to make it official. Our goal is still 1,000 subscribers. But I don't want to stop there. I want so many subscribers that if I sneeze on stream, YouTube trends will be like hamster sneeze compilation. That's the level of influence I'm aiming for. And yeah, it's a dumb goal. But dumb goals are the best goals because you can't fail. Even if you miss, you still did something hilarious. Also, do you ever wonder if chairs get tired of holding us up? Like, day after day, they just stand there, supporting our weight, listening to all our conversations without ever being part of them. Maybe that's why old chairs creak. It's not age. It's just them groaning like, bro, sit somewhere else for once. Same with doors. Every time we slam one, the door's probably like, okay, drama king, calm down. And walls, don't get me started. They've seen everything. If walls could talk, they'd probably roast us for all the weird stuff we do when no one's looking. And now I'm thinking, maybe gum is like life. It starts sweet. Then you hit that phase where the flavor fades, and it's up to you whether to keep chewing or spit it out and try something new. Personally, I think you keep chewing because you never know when your brain will wander into something weird. Like wondering if fish ever get thirsty, or if birds ever get bored of flying. And yeah, I'm aware none of this makes sense, but that's the point. It's not supposed to. This isn't a lecture, it's a stream of thoughts, like opening a drawer full of random junk and finding a rubber band, a coin from 1998, and a spoon you don't remember owning. That's this monologue. And the fact you're still here means you get it. So, subscribe, join the chaos, because this is only part 1. I've got way more nonsense ready to spill, and I'm not slowing down until our hamster crew takes over the whole platform. And speaking of platforms, have you ever thought about how weird it is that we stand on the Earth, but the Earth is also spinning through space at like, what, 1,000 miles an hour? And we don't even feel it. Imagine if one day the planet just decided to break a little bit. We'd all probably tumble into each other like a giant game of dominoes, and the moon would just be sitting there like, what are you guys doing? And that makes me wonder, if the moon had a personality, would it be chill and quiet, or super gossipy because it's always watching us? Probably gossipy. I bet the moon has tea on everyone. Literally moon tea dot. And then my brain jumps to the idea that maybe we're just characters in some giant cosmic video game. And whoever's controlling me is like, yeah, let's make this hamster chew gum and talk about clouds for 6 minutes straight. And if that's true, then I hope they at least give me good upgrades, like faster thinking speed or infinite gum flavor. But also, what if we are the NPCs in someone else's game? You know, just background characters in the universe's open world sandbox. And that's kind of freeing, because if you're an NPC, you can do whatever you want without worrying about winning. You just exist and vibe, which is basically what I'm doing right now. Also, speaking of vibing, can we talk about how water is the most overpowered drink ever? Like, it has no flavor, no sugar, no caffeine. And yet it keeps you alive, makes you feel better, and even cleans you. That's S-tier beverage status. But people still choose soda, which is basically water in a party outfit. And I'm not against soda, but if water had a marketing team, we'd all be drinking it like celebrities sipping overpriced bottled stuff from mountain springs. Imagine if water commercials were as hype as energy drink ads, people backflipping into lakes, fish handing out branded cups, slow motion splashes. Yeah, that'd sell Dotto. And here's a random thought. If mirrors could store memories of everything they've reflected, they'd probably be the juiciest gossip sources in the universe. Like, imagine a mirror just casually recalling every time you made weird faces at yourself or practiced a conversation you never actually had. That's terrifying, but also kind of funny. I'd probably bribe my mirror to forget stuff. Or maybe mirrors already forget, and that's why they're always so calm. Anyway, you already know what I'm gonna say. Subscribe. Yes, again. Because the hamster empire isn't going to build itself, and we're still chasing that big 1,000. Every subscriber is like adding one more brick to this ridiculous but beautiful little castle of nonsense we've got here. You're not just watching, you're part of it. And when we finally hit it, I'll know it's because people like you decided to click a button and join the chaos instead of just thinking, oh, that was funny, and scrolling away. So click it. Seriously, because this isn't even close to the end. And that's the best part. I've got more, so much more. My brain's a vending machine full of random thoughts. And you never know if you're getting candy, a rubber duck, or an existential crisis. But whatever comes out, you can bet I'm gonna keep talking until either the gum loses all its flavor, or we conquer the YouTube homepage. And trust me, I'm cool with both. And you know what's even weirder? The fact that bananas are technically berries, but strawberries aren't. Like, who decided that? Was there a fruit council somewhere just making up rules? And then tomatoes came along like, surprise, I'm a fruit too. And everyone just collectively decided to ignore that except for the one kid in school who always brought it up to sound smart. And now I'm thinking, if fruits had personalities, bananas would be the friendly extroverts, strawberries would be the cool mysterious ones. And pineapples would be the ones who look super sweet, but are actually covered in spikes. Because they've got trust issues. Also, I can't stop thinking about escalators. They're just moving stairs. Why is that so funny? Stairs that said, you know what? I'm tired. I'm gonna do the walking for you. But they also have that awkward moment where you have to step on at the exact right time. And if you miss it, you look like you've never seen technology before. And what's with that little gap at the end where it eats your shoelace if you're not careful? That's some final boss energy right there, .o. And speaking of final bosses, I think the ultimate final boss in life is actually tangled earbuds. Doesn't matter how carefully you put them away, you take them out, and boom, they've invented 5 new nuts that would make a sailor proud. And yeah, I know wireless earbuds exist, but I'm convinced they just disappear into another dimension the moment you put them down. Somewhere there's a magical land full of single socks and missing earbuds, and they're all having a great time without us. And hey, since we're talking about disappearing things, attention spans, I feel like mine has the lifespan of a bubble. Like, I can be talking about gum flavor 1 second, and then, oh, all right, that's it for today's stream in Grow a Garden. Thanks so much for hanging out and helping me grow this crazy little garden. You're the real MVPs. Don't forget to subscribe and drop a like if you haven't already. It really helps the channel and keeps the hamster vibes going strong. Keep sharing your thoughts in the comments. I love reading what you guys think and what plants you'd add next. We'll be back soon with more weird, wild, and fun adventures, so stay tuned and get ready for the next part. Catch you later, hamsters!